This is the Arizona Wildcats Show, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. I'm Star Sports editor Ryan Finley, here with John Gold. Johnny.
How are you, brother?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. You're back from LA,
Yeah.
where you spent 2 days hearing that every football coach and every football player in the Pac-12 conference respects the process.
Yep.
They've been working hard.
Yep.
Their goal is to be tough.
Yep.
It's important to score points,
Yep.
but it's also important to play defense.
Yep.
Anything of substance you can take from the 2 days spent on the Paramount lot talking to these guys about 2014 expectations?
I mean, I found where Rizzoli and Isles is filmed.
Oh, that's important.
And if that's all I did, I feel like I accomplished a lot.
And there's a Real Housewives that's filmed right there. Daniel Burke was telling me.
That's all I need to hear. I can talk about this for 5 hours, considering I'm watching every episode with my girlfriend now, and it's really fun. No, you don't learn anything at Pac-12 Media Day. I think the thing that's interesting is how far the conference has come along. I think it's really evident at one of these events when there's snow cone machines and there's cornhole, even though that was a joke. Mm-hmm. And it's just they're really trying to package themselves as not the SEC. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very advanced conference financially. It's a very advanced, they try and innovate a lot. And some of it works, some of it doesn't. The format was kind of a joke there. A lot of people were not happy with that. I think the biggest thing to come out of Pac-12 Media Day might have just been the news that Siler Miles, the Washington quarterback, is suspended the first game. I think that was the only breaking news to come out of the entire event. So what did I learn? I really didn't learn much except how to stalk Rizzoli and Isles, which is enough. Didn't
Miles get into a fight in the hours after the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl?
That's exactly what happened. And one of his teammates, and I forget exactly who it was, got kicked off the team. So the whole thing was a fiasco. But that's going to be Washington. I think is one of those pivotal teams in the North. Washington State might be the team that's on the rise, but Chris Peterson now at Washington, and they have a lot of talent. They've had talent for years, but 7-win Sark couldn't get them past that. Mm-hmm. And so I am interested to see how they rally behind a quarterback who has clearly got some issues. You know, he's not one of those button-up Andrew Luck kind of guys. So that's interesting.
One of the most interesting stories that I've read, reading everything from Media Day, was the story you did about ASU's offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
And very briefly sort of fill the folks in on everything he's gone through and sort of, you know, what makes him special on this team.
Yeah, you're talking about Jamil Douglas. Yep. One of those kids who you have the decision to make, or you have the opportunity to make a bad decision, and then you can decide what to do from that. 4 years ago, he was a freshman. He and a buddy decided to take a couple things from a roommate. Those couple things weren't pens and pencils. It was an Xbox and some TV equipment. They get caught, clearly. One of the kind of the ringleader got kicked out of school. Jamil Douglas, they said, you know, you're suspended, but if you can fight your way back, you can fight your way back. 4 years later, he's a starting offensive lineman going on his third year starting, 27 career starts, 3.92 GPA in college, graduated with a degree in criminal studies, which is wonderful irony. And now he's in grad school, you know, going for his master's while playing college football. And he really is one of those classic studies of how to react and how to respond to a situation. Kids screw up. You know, we've seen it at Arizona. We've seen it at every school. But it's how you react to it that matters.
Sure. This is the Arizona Wildcats Show, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. Ryan Finley here with John Gold. John, when we talk about college athletics, you know, the Ray Rice thing has been in the news all week in the NFL.
What a joke.
I know. But in college athletics, to paraphrase Rich Rodriguez, if a guy's a bad guy, he's a bad guy. You get rid of him and your team improves.
Yeah.
If a guy is just a kid who made a mistake, you can give him a second chance. Is the biggest job of a coach nowadays, John, figuring out who's a bad guy and who's just an okay guy who made a bad decision?
That's a great question. I think the biggest job of a coach is monitoring Twitter, to be quite honest. These kids are insane, what they put out there. And I think the way you kind of put it, it's not about finding out who's a bad guy and a good guy. It's about identifying early who's an absolute fit for your program from top to bottom. There are nasty college football teams out there. You know, if you're a
ASU was like that under Dennis Erickson.
Exactly. Yeah. And it blew up in their face. Even though the Vontez Burfict story is pretty interesting. But it's about finding exactly who's going to fit in your system, why they fit in your system, and not just system. I mean, and I don't mean
culture.
Offensive system.
You mean culture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And one of the things you like about Rich Rod is he's had a couple problem children, and he's dealt with them in a way. You know, Kadeem had his issues, and he dealt with them, and there was a suspension, and there was all that kind of stuff, and there was accountability to it. And you have to wonder at this point, like you said, how much worse it's going to get as coaches, for coaches, in terms of this, because at a certain point, the world is getting a lot smaller for these kids. It used to be you could do anything and you weren't under any kind of microscope. Now anything a kid does can cause him an issue, and as a result can cause a coach an issue.
Absolutely. Great stuff as always, Johnny.
Yeah, man.
This is the Arizona Wildcat Show, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. For John Gold, I'm Ryan Finley. Join us next time when we talk about more Arizona Wildcats football.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about Nick Foles and Buzz Bissinger too.
Golden Girls?
That's a different show. No Golden Girls. We'll see you next time.
What do I got to do?
Try this matchup. Low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.